It's been a year since Helldivers 2 came out of nowhere and took the gaming world by surprise. What started as a project from a relatively small studio quickly became one of the best co-op live service experiences we've seen in a long time. And while the initial hype may have settled, the game is far from fading. Player numbers remain strong, and the steady stream of content updates introducing new weapons, enemies and cosmetics has kept things fresh, ensuring that democracy continues to be spread in the most explosive way possible. But what makes Helldivers 2 so good in the first place? And what makes people show up each day in order to serve democracy across the galaxy? You could say that is because of the innovative approach that they took when it comes to the lore of the game and the ever-changing threats that emerge, keeping things fresh and players involved as they collectively push towards liberating all these planets and keeping Super Earth safe. Sure, that is one of the reasons why it developed such a cult-like following, having players create propaganda posters for Super Earth and spreading the word of democracy beyond the boundaries of the game itself. They didn't even need a massive marketing campaign. Helldivers 2 practically sold itself. The community's passion and engagement turned it into an unstoppable force, flooding the internet with memes, fan art, posters and cosplays. For the first few months after launch, you couldn't scroll through social media without seeing something related to the game. It was everywhere. And even if you wanted to escape it, you couldn't. Even with this strong start, the game couldn't last in the long run without its addictive gameplay loop and the amount of variety it offers in terms of builds. What truly made Helldivers 2 shine among other titles was the meta, or to be more precise, the lack of it. In today's modern age, when information is more accessible than ever before, many games fall victims to their own meta. There are endless resources when it comes to builds and guides, and most games are broken down and analyzed in every tiny detail from day one in some cases, somehow taking away the joy of figuring things out for themselves for most players. The best build or the right way to play is quickly identified, and sadly in most cases you either fall in line and adhere to it or fall behind. And let's be honest, who plays video games to lose? It's not fun when you have minimal to no impact or get stumped over and over again while playing the build that you enjoy. When a game becomes suffocated by its own meta, it's usually too late. At that point, it turns into a constant battle between the devs and the meta chasers, endlessly tweaking balance and putting out fires every time something broken pops up. In most cases, games like these end up with a small but dedicated player base, hardcore min-maxers who analyze every detail, optimize every loadout, and dictate how the game should be played. Meanwhile, the casual audience slowly drifts away because the game is no longer designed with them in mind. It's a cycle we've seen time and time again, where a game's depth becomes its own worst enemy, pushing away the very players that made it popular in the first place. Now, I'm not saying that Helldivers 2 is immune to these problems. Like any live service game, it has its fair share of meta chasers and review bombers, those players who either demand constant balance changes or throw a fit when things don't go their way. The real challenge for any development team is finding that perfect balance, delivering fresh content, keeping the gameplay engaging, and refining the experience without accidentally breaking what made it great in the first place. It's always sad to see a game you love get strangled by its own meta, turning what used to be a playground of creative builds into a rigid selection of optimal choices. And this isn't just a Helldivers 2 problem. It's a pattern we've seen across many games, even outside this genre. We've got plenty of bad examples to learn from. Take World of Warcraft for instance. Over the years, it turned into a full-on min-maxing race, where players optimize every tiny detail just to burn through content as fast as possible. Dungeons, raids, even casual PvP, everything is broken down into spreadsheets and tier lists. If you're not playing the best spec at the moment, good luck getting into groups. It's like the fun got patched out somewhere along the way. Then there's Overwatch, which became a meta-locked nightmare where certain team comps were mandatory if you wanted a chance to win. Wanna have fun and pick off meta heroes? Yeah, no, enjoy getting steamrolled. This led to constant balance changes that felt more like a game of whack-a-mole, where as soon as one meta got nerfed, another one took over, and even battle royales aren't safe. Apex Legends and Warzone both fell in the same trap. When Warzone first dropped, players were running all kinds of crazy builds: launchers, shotguns, snipers, you name it. But over time, patches gradually funneled everyone into just using ARs and SMGs. Launchers got nerfed, snipers lost their one-shot potential, and anything outside of the meta just became a meme pick. So now, instead of having variety, every loadout looks the same, and half the guns in the game might as well not exist. This is the danger of meta-driven gameplay. It starts out harmless, but before you know it, the game gets suffocated by optimal strategies, pushing out casual players and turning everything into a numbers game. The devs then have to fight a never-ending battle of balancing things without making the game feel like a chore. And once that cycle starts, it's hard to break out of it. If you know other examples of games that were ruined by their meta, leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video so far, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, as it helps the channel grow. To really understand why Helldivers 2 had such a strong launch, we just need to look at something as simple as the starting loadout, specifically the AR-23 Liberator. In most games, the default weapons are throwaways. They exist to get you through the tutorial, only to be tossed aside the moment you find something better. But not here. In Helldivers 2, from your very first dive, you feel locked, loaded, and actually useful. The Liberator isn't just some pea shooter meant to be discarded. It's a reliable, hard-hitting rifle that makes you feel like you belong on the battlefield. You're not struggling through those first missions. You're mowing down endless waves of bugs, watching limbs fly through the air as you dish out sweet democracy. And that very first dive had impact. Between the gritty tone and the intense combat, and the perfectly suited intro trailer that set the stage, Helldivers 2 didn't just throw you into the fight. It made sure you felt the weight of every shot you fired. It was chaotic, immersive, and had that shock value that left a strong first impression. But beyond just the Liberator and that first drop, Helldivers 2 did something that so many live service games fail to do. It gave players options that actually felt meaningful. The game didn't force you into a strict playstyle or meta. Instead, it just handed you the tools of distraction and let you figure out what worked best for you. And that's where things got really interesting. One of the best parts of Helldivers 2 is the sheer amount of freedom you have in how you approach each mission. It's not just about picking the best weapon and calling it a day. It's about choosing the right tools for the job. And let's be honest, few things in gaming are as satisfying as opening up your stratagem list and carefully crafting your own loadout of destruction. Some players prefer the tactical approach, bringing in support weapons, shield generators, and defensive stratagems to hold the line against overwhelming odds. Others go full-on chaos mode, calling down orbital bombardments, napalm strikes, and massive autocannons to turn entire bug hives into smoking craters. And the best part? Both of these approaches are viable. You are not locked into one correct way to play. You experiment, you adapt, and you create absolute mayhem in whatever way feels right for you. And that's why Helldivers 2 works. It respects player choice. You can make almost anything work if you use it correctly. Sure, some strategies are going to be more effective than others, but at no point does the game force you to conform to a single meta loadout just to survive. And that's rare in today's gaming landscape. And speaking of the current gaming landscape, this brings us to the monetization aspect, which can't be ignored nowadays, as game studios seem to compete in ways of preying on their player bases to see who can squeeze more money out of them. Helldivers 2 had another big win when it came to monetization, as you are not bound to buy the premium content with real money. And even if you do want to swipe your card to buy premium warbands, it won't break the bank and they will still deliver a good amount of content. A nice touch was the fact that you could also earn the premium currency by playing the game. Sure, it's a grind. but the option it's on the table if you don't want to spend another penny on the game. This is one of the most consumer-friendly games out there, and that played a huge role in its success. No predatory microtransactions, no FOMO-driven pressure to buy everything instantly, just a fair system that respects the players. This is why the Helldivers 2 community has been a powerhouse since day one, fueling the game's success with such passion and creativity. However, not everything has been smooth sailing. About 9 months ago, Sony announced that the PC players would soon be required to link a PlayStation Network account to continue playing Helldivers on Steam. This decision didn't sit well with the community, sparking a massive backlash. Players took to the forums, social media, and began review bombing the game on Steam, expressing their frustration over what they saw as an unnecessary and intrusive requirement. The uproar was impossible to ignore. In response to the overwhelming negative feedback, Sony reversed on its decision, announcing that PSN account linking would no longer be mandatory for PC players. This move was a significant victory for the community, showcasing the power of unified player voices in influencing corporate decisions. This episode highlights a crucial aspect of Helldivers 2's success, a responsive and engaged development team that listens to its community. By valuing player feedback and fostering an environment of mutual respect, Helldivers 2 has cultivated a loyal and active player base that continues to thrive. So with a strong community, solid dev support, and one of the best co-op experiences out there, Helldivers 2 is in a great spot. But here's the real question. How long can it keep this momentum going? Because if history has taught us anything, is that no live service game is safe from decline if the content pipeline slows down or the player base starts losing interest. Right now the loop is still satisfying. You drop in, fight overwhelming odds, complete objectives, and extract in a chaotic blaze of democracy. But how long can the devs keep the loop feeling fresh? Here's where things get tricky. Live service games don't just survive on their launch content, they thrive on evolution. And that means new mission types, new biomes, new threats, and maybe even entirely new mechanics that shake up how we play. The game is still in a great place, but if the updates start feeling like more of the same, there's a risk that even the most dedicated players will start looking elsewhere. In the end, Helldivers 2 is still one of the best co-op shooters out there, and it's proof that live service games can be done right. It launched with a strong foundation, built an incredible community, and so far it has avoided the usual pitfalls that kill off so many other games in this genre. But the real test is what happens next. Can the devs keep delivering? Can they avoid the dreaded meta trap? Can they keep the chaos fresh without watering it down? Only time will tell, but for now, there's still democracy to spread, bugs to crush, and some very unfortunate resupply pod accidents waiting to happen. So gear up, grab your liberator, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.